Welcome back, folks. We carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Fantastic to have you along. Shamila, Sulayman, Deputy President of Collegians, all for the call, joins me on the show now. Shamila, welcome.
Thank you so much, JP. Finally, I made your show after a number of years. So happy to be here this afternoon, and thanks for mentioning all for the call.
And I know we can't see it, but you've got your Collegians blazer on. But I mean, that is a word that everybody knows. If you're a Collegians player or you have any sort of connection with Collegians, and even if you're not a Collegians player, the rest of Western Province, they know that phrase, all for the coal.
Yes, they're all too familiar with it. And I said to you just before we started the show, I'm wearing my Collegians blazer proudly this afternoon in Cape Town's February heat. Yeah. But it's always an absolute honor for me to do so. I've been part of the club for more than 30 years now. And as all for the coal, you know, it's a passion that we all share, people associated with the club and those not. And we hashtag it proudly on all of our social media platforms, indeed.
But an incredible structure, Collegians, going back, deep set roots, history. Are you able to, or your coaches even, are they able to connect with the players at the moment? Have they been able to keep some sort of connection there?
Yes, well, you know, it's obviously been trying times for all of us. We've been into lockdown on different levels, of course, for almost a year now. But, you know, to be quite frank, JP, when it all started at the end of March last year, I think the initial reaction was everybody's innate response to keep their loved ones safe, you know, their families safe, etc. And as leadership within Collegians, you know, our role was to keep contact firstly with our coaches and management staff, our administrators, and they in turn kept, you know, in contact with the players. But the main thing was that once we had touched base with our coaches and management staff, they were as you know, enthusiastic and felt it was a priority to keep, especially our youth and our juniors. You know, Collegians, like several other community clubs, has a rich history of a strong junior structure. And in Mitchell's Plain, with a population of around, you know, over 300,000 people, this is many children. And of course, many of them are connected to Collegians in Lentegeur, Mitchell's Plain. And so it was important for us to sort of allay their fears in respect of rugby and to keep them interested in the game of rugby and to keep them interested in Collegians, you know, and to let them know that we are doing everything that we can to keep the game alive, to keep the club alive. You know, even before lockdown, there were always several challenges, and many of our community clubs can attest to this. And so what was really inspirational and heartwarming to see was how people within our community, within our rugby club, you know, in various capacities, whether as a club or whether as we Collegians partnered with other NGOs or with other community structures within Lentegeur, or persons within the club in their personal capacities, how they sort of reached out to the community of Collegians and Lentegeur at large. You know, there were feeding schemes going, there were fundraisings going, etc. So that was really heartwarming, and that gave people a lot of sort of inspiration and motivation, you know, to start doing things again.
You just the story that you're telling, and I'm just listening to you in awe at the moment. When COVID happened, a lot of people had to adjust to this big shock factor, and many structures didn't know how to deal with it, but they started working it out as they went along, and they sort of realized they need to stick together, tap into their resources, and of course rely on each other, rely on family, and so on. But this is
Yes.
something that Collegians has been doing for many years and comes naturally.
Yes. No, indeed, JP, it does come naturally. It's a sort of, an extended family, if you like. We talk about the Collegians family often. And it, like you say, it was easy for us to do this because social responsibility, albeit that it comes from an area like this, which makes it all the more rewarding, social responsibility has always been part of our club.
Yeah.
During Ramadan, we have feeding schemes, and during other, specific parts of the year or sections of the year, commemorating specific holidays, etc. So it's always been, and yes, it did come naturally. So our coaches played a vital role in this regard, and so each of them came up with relevant sort of fitness and conditioning programs for our different age groups, for our different teams. Right from under 7, we're fortunate like that. Where we often have girls interplaying with the boys in those junior teams, right up to our senior first team, and our coaches took charge in that regard. Sending out programs, and we asked them to just send out little motivational, inspirational quotes. We got a wonderful sponsorship of magazines, particularly sports magazines, which we also distributed to them. And just on one occasion, it was actually a religious occasion where we made sort of sweet candy parcels, sweets and chocolates and all kinds of nice goodies that little children love. And we just surprised them with that kind of goodie basket, if you like. And it brought so much joy, to their day. So our players have been kept engaged in that respect, from our coaches, from our management staff. And they don't necessarily have the big yards and the garage gyms, etc. But they made full use of what they do have, and our coaches were quite innovative in that respect.
Shamila, we're going to say to you, give the very best to the players there.
Thank you.
To you and everybody else out there, stay safe. We obviously can't wait to see people back at on the park. I was going to say back at the Kreefgat, but
Yes.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
We're looking forward to it, though. Thank you
absolutely.
so much for having us, JP. We really appreciate it, and to you and your team, everything of the best to you too. And please do stay safe. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, Shamila. There we go, folks. Shamila Sulayman, Deputy President of Collegians Rugby Football Club. And do yourself a favor, go and browse for Collegians on Facebook. And if you haven't visited there yourself yet, go find out a little bit more about what they're up to. They do incredible work, an incredible rugby club. Folks, as you know, on a weekly basis, we do the public review for MChem 24-hour pharmacy. This is, of course, you, the public, that have gone out to the pharmacy and taken a look, gone shopping, got some service there, and then made a public review. Now, this week's review comes in from Kimmy Clayton, and Kimmy says, always love this pharmacy. I always end up getting carried away with my purpose and buy a whole bunch of stuff. It's a 5-star review there from Kimmy Clayton. And of course, folks, there you can see MChem 24-hour pharmacy behind me. That's the store that when you drive down the N1, you'll see it on the right-hand side. You look for that big MChem logo. And of course, it is a 24-hour pharmacy. Every staff member at MChem 24-hour pharmacy is, of course, geared to help you with all of your pharmaceutical requirements. From the minute that you park to the minute that you leave, MChem staff are there to help you with whatever you need, whenever you need it. That's, of course, MChem's promise. And MChem 24-hour pharmacy is always open, and they're always there to help you 24 hours a day, every day. I love going to MChem's, my favorite store. Got everything that I need. And as you know, as I've said many times, free parking. So you park, somebody guides you from the parking lot to the store, and from there, the minute you walk in, someone's there to help you. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about club rugby in Western Province. Back in a sec.